The Israeli-Palestinian war might soon be over as Australian Parliament backs UN resolution to approve Palestine as a sovereign state. Australia has sponsored a United Nations resolution to acknowledge Palestinians' permanent sovereignty in the Occupied Palestinian Territory, a significant shift from its previous attitude. On Thursday, Australia voted with 158 other countries, including the United Kingdom and New Zealand, on a resolution to recognize the permanent sovereignty of the Palestinian people in the Occupied Palestinian Territory, including East Jerusalem, and of the Arab population in the occupied Syrian Golan over their natural resources. Welcome to the channel. Please, if you're new here, like and subscribe so you don't miss new updates and hot gists. 7 countries, including the United States, Israel, and Canada, voted against the motion, while 11 others abstained. The vote will now go to the UN General Assembly. It is the first time an Australian government has voted in support of the Permanent Sovereignty Resolution, which was proposed in some form 2 decades ago. Penny Wong, a spokesperson for the Foreign Affairs Ministry, stated that the vote reflected international concern regarding Israel's policies, which include ongoing settlement activity, land dispossession, demolitions, and settler violence against Palestinians. We have been clear that such acts undermine stability and prospects for a 2-state solution, according to a spokeswoman. This resolution remembers UN Security Council resolutions that underline the need of a 2-state solution with bipartisan backing. Guardian Australia understands Australia was dissatisfied that the resolution made no mention of Hezbollah's conduct in Israel. Australia has not modified its view on final status issues such as borders, security, and Jerusalem, which must be addressed during negotiations for a 2-state solution. In a second draft resolution, members called for Israel to accept responsibility and compensate Lebanon for its role in a 2006 oil spill that affected vast areas of the country's coastline and neighboring countries. Australia voted in favour of the resolution, along with 160 other countries. However, Guardian Australia knows it has qualms about the content. Shortly after, the US delegation to the UN issued a statement expressing dissatisfaction in the unbalanced resolution that is unfairly critical of Israel, demonstrating a clear and persistent institutional bias directed against one member state. One-sided resolutions are entirely rhetorical papers designed to divide us at a time when we should be uniting. And we must not cling to long-standing divisions. The Albanese government has made subtle but substantial changes in Australia's approach to the Middle East crisis. In May, Australia supported a UN vote on Palestinian participation in the Assembly. Wong stated that the decision was about granting modest additional rights to participate in United Nations forums, and that Australia would only acknowledge Palestine when we believe the time is right. The Australia-Israel and Jewish Affairs Council expressed deep concern about the Albanese government's reversal on these matters. Alex Rivchin, co-chief executive of the Executive Council of Australian Jewry, stated that the decision demonstrated the widening gulf between Australia and the United States on Israel and Palestine. This shift in voting will have little impact in Israel, where the country is more concerned with Hamas and Hezbollah, as well as hostages, than with our government's judgments. But it will be noticed in Washington, and certainly by Australians with ties to the conflict, which could be the aim, he added. The president of the Australia-Palestine Advocacy Network, Nasser Mashni, welcomed the change as long overdue recognition. Australia's support marks an acknowledgement of the catastrophic impact of Israel's relentless appropriation and destruction of Palestinian resources and sends a clear signal that the world is demanding accountability for these injustices, the Prime Minister said. This vote should be a turning point for the Australian government. It must recognise and act upon its legal obligation to use all economic, political and diplomatic tools at its disposal to help end Israel's genocide, illegal occupation, and apartheid in Palestine. The vote comes one day after President-elect Donald Trump named Mike Huckabee as the next U.S. ambassador to Israel. The Trump administration is expected to take a stronger pro-Israel stance on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, as it did during its last term. Huckabee, a former Arkansas governor, is known for his pro-Israel views on the issue and has previously stated that Israel has a legitimate claim to the West Bank, which he refers to by the Hebrew and biblical names Judea and Samaria. Trump also named Marco Rubio as his Secretary of State. Thanks for watching till the end. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more updates. Shortly after the Palestinian militant group Hamas launched strikes on southern Israel on October 7, Rubio wrote on X that Israel must respond disproportionately and that there could be no ceasefire, negotiated solution, or peaceful coexistence while Hamas exists.